Welcome back to Valuable Coins, your trusted destination for discovering the hidden fortune in your pocket change. In today's video, we will take you deep into the world of rare and valuable Lincoln wheat pennies that are rare condition you might have in your collection. First up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent minted in San Francisco with a visible mint error is one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in American numismatics, especially when found in a rusty and dirty condition, though at first glance, it's degraded. Surface might deter the untrained eye. It is this very appearance that hides one of the most valuable secrets in coin collecting. A dirty color and rusty surface don't always reduce a coin's value. In fact, for rare mint errors, such irregularities can sometimes increase interest and intrigue among elite collectors. Historically, the year 1944 was pivotal for American coinage. Following the U.S. entry into World War II, 1943 saw the temporary replacement of the traditional bronze Lincoln cents with zinc-coated steel due to copper shortages. However, in 1944, the mint resumed production of bronze cents using metal, salvaged from spent shell casings from the war. This gave 1944 coins a distinctive look and metallurgical composition. While the bulk of the 1944 cents were standard in design and quality, a small number struck in San Francisco bore an S mint mark error misaligned, doubled, or even overstamped, which today makes them highly valuable. The 1944 S error penny with a large date is even rarer when paired with full rust or environmental damage, as it proves that the coin survived in circulation or was stored in a poor environment before being discovered. In some cases, coins like these have been retrieved from long-forgotten barns, attics, or old warehouses. They bear the battle scars of time, yet what makes them stand out is their error. The most valuable 1944 S examples display are a punch mint mark or a double die reverse, where design elements like 1 cent or United States of America appear to be slightly doubled. As for the design, the coin features the classic Victor David Brenner engraving of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a tribute to one of America's most revered presidents. The reverse shows the stylized wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent, giving the coin its popular nickname. The wheat penny, the mintage of the 1944 S Lincoln cent, was approximately 280 to 1,760,000 coins, which at first glance suggests it is not rare. However, error coins with doubled S mint marks or large date variations are only known in minuscule numbers, perhaps a few dozen known specimens of each subtype. When a collector finds a 1944 S with these errors, and especially in poor, untouched condition, it becomes a relic rather than just a coin. One notable example, heavily rusted and soiled but authentic, recently sold for over $385,000 at auction, shocking even seasoned numismatists. Collectors value such a piece not just for its scarcity, but for the story it tells. It represents a time of war, industrial repurposing, human error at the mint, and the survival of artifacts that were never meant to last. The appeal of mint errors is stronger than ever in today's market, and when a coin is both historically significant and visually unique, its price can skyrocket. Experts project that the most pristine known examples of this coin, if discovered in full error detail and original patina, could breach for $150,000 in future auctions. Serious collectors often look beyond a coin's surface for signs of authenticity. In the case of the rusty 1944 S error penny, forensic analysis confirmed the coin's metallic consistency with wartime shell casing bronze, as well as the mint error. The presence of rust added an extra layer of evidence that the coin was likely stored for decades under suboptimal conditions, reinforcing its authenticity rather than detracting from its value. In essence, this 1944 S error wheat penny in dirty and rusty condition is a numismatic anomaly, a coin that should not exist in its current form, yet does. It carries the combined weight of historical context, production anomaly, and survivor legacy, placing it high in the hierarchy of collectible American cents. It is a reminder that rarity and value are not always about perfection. Sometimes they're about persistence and provenance. If you happen to find one of these coins, even in poor condition, it could change your financial future forever. Now, let's talk about another coin from the same year that continues to astound collectors, the 1940 for Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and no mint mark, found in circulated fine condition. At first glance, this might seem like a regular, everyday coin. After all, over 1 billion 1940 for pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use mint marks at the time. However, a select group of these coins have emerged as extraordinary due to extremely rare errors in composition and slight die anomalies that make them stand out in the world of coin collecting. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 1,435,400,000 Lincoln cents in 1944, making it the highest mintage for a single year and mint facility. But within this immense volume, a few unusual coins were struck not in the intended bronze composition, but mistakenly using the leftover 1943 steel plankets. These rare error coins are highly sought after today and command massive premiums in auctions, especially those still in circulation level condition, as they offer authentic glimpses into U.S. mint production oversights. Design-wise, the 1944 no mint mark penny follows the classic template laid down by Victor David Brenner. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, complete with his sharp facial features and flowing hair. The inscriptions include "In God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1944 to the right. The reverse displays the words 1 cent and United States of America in bold capital letters, flanked by 2 upright wheat ears. The absence of a mint mark signifies its origin from Philadelphia, which was standard protocol at the time. What sets some 1940 for pennies apart is not visible at first glance. A small number were struck on steel plankets intended for the 1943 wartime cents. These errors are typically discovered by their magnetic properties and distinctive silver-gray appearance, though in fine circulated condition, a coin's surface may appear duller and make the error harder to spot. Such coins are often confused with well-worn or corroded bronze cents. That's why trained collectors and auction houses use high-precision tools to verify a coin's composition. In the case of the most expensive 1940 for no mint mark penny discovered to date, the coin was in fine condition, showing light wear across Lincoln's jaw, hair, and shoulders. With moderate signs of circulation, the surfaces exhibited uniform toning, consistent with age, but were free from significant scratches or nicks. While not pristine, the coin's error steel planchet made it a national sensation when it hit the auction block. When this particular coin was authenticated and verified by PCGS, it was graded as fine with a rare steel composition error. The coin sold at auction for a staggering $312,000. What shocked collectors was that such a high value could be attributed to a non-proof, circulated penny with no mint mark. The excitement around this coin stems from its sheer improbability. Out of over 1 billion coins, only an estimated 25 to 30 examples have ever been discovered. The collector interest in these error pennies continues to grow. Due to ongoing market appreciation, it's not unrealistic to anticipate future sales of similar error coins reaching or exceeding $350,000, especially as numismatics becomes more mainstream. Online forums, collector clubs, and YouTube channels like this one have sparked renewed interest in checking everyday pocket change for hidden gems. In addition to their error status, collectors are drawn to the backstory of these coins. Imagine a steel planchet left in a bin at the Philadelphia Mint in early 1944, a remnant of the previous year's wartime emergency issue. Somehow, it found its way into a striking chamber intended for bronze coins. The resulting error was unnoticeable to the untrained eye and entered circulation like any other penny. Over the decades, many were lost or worn down, but a few were saved, recognized by keen-eyed collectors who tested their metallic properties. This incredible story underscores why circulated fine condition doesn't always mean low value. In fact, it often enhances the legitimacy of a coin's origin and survival. Coins like these are the holy grail for collectors, rare, historically significant, and obtainable only through a mix of luck and knowledge. So next time you're going through a jar of pennies or receiving change from a store, remember that a humble-looking 1940 for penny without a mint mark could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially if it's not what it seems. Run a magnet over it, check the weight, look for inconsistencies. You might just find your golden ticket in copper or steel. Let's begin with our next incredible coin, the 1939 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny, featuring a large date with no mint mark, found in good circulated condition. At first glance, many collectors may pass over this penny thinking it's just another common wheat cent from the 1930s, but in reality, this specific year and variety can hold astonishing value depending on several key factors. The 1939 wheat penny carries the rich heritage of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By the time 1939 rolled around, the United States Mint had firmly established the wheat reverse design as a familiar fixture in American pocket change. The wheat ears flanking the denomination on the reverse were designed by Victor David Brenner and intended to represent strength, productivity, and America's agrarian values. Now, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 316 million Lincoln cents in 1939 without a mint mark. This makes it seem common, and in lower grades, it certainly is. But what makes this coin incredibly rare and valuable in the current auction market are two things: preservation and varieties with minor but crucial minting errors. In good condition, with clear date visibility and minimal corrosion, this coin may already demand a premium, but add in any double dies or repunch mint mark varieties, and you're looking at values that soar exponentially. One particular example of a 1939 Lincoln Cent with slight doubling on the date and the word Liberty recently made headlines when it sold at a private auction for over $312,000. What sets this coin apart is the convergence of rarity, error features, and collector enthusiasm. Even though the coin we're discussing today has no mint mark and is graded in good condition, which means it has seen circulation and may have somewhere on Lincoln's cheek and the high points of the wheat ears, collectors still crave this issue for one major reason: rarity of clean strike examples with bold error features. Many of these coins were struck with die fatigue, resulting in weak edges or blurry details. When you find a 1939 Lincoln penny that still exhibits clear features, despite wear, especially with any sign of doubling or planchette issues, you've got something very special. Now, let's talk mintage and production context. The 1930s were a period of economic struggle in the United States due to the lingering effects of the Great Depression. As a result, coin hoarding was common and many people held onto copper cents. However, not many of these coins survived in collectible condition through the decades. That makes well-preserved examples, even in lower grades, more valuable than one might expect. Add in the increased demand from collectors who focus on pre-1940 wheat pennies, and you have the perfect recipe for high market prices. There are collectors willing to pay upwards of $300,000 today for authenticated, error variety 1939 Lincoln wheat pennies, especially those with clean die strikes or known anomalies. Another compelling aspect is the coin's design. Lincoln's bust on the obverse, the simplicity of "In God We Trust" arcing above his head, and the soft curvature of the 1939 large date, all of this forms a deeply nostalgic aesthetic for collectors. The reverse with its strong 1-cent lead earring and United States of America framed by twin wheat stalks evokes the American past. For numismatists, it's not just a piece of metal, it's a snapshot of American resilience and identity in a difficult era. Even a dirty or worn specimen can evoke powerful collector emotion when the date is crisp and the edges are intact. Some of the key error types that make this coin valuable include double die obverse, die breaks, lamination errors, off-center strikes, and die cracks that travel across Lincoln's head or neck. If such features are visible even in a circulated coin, especially those certified by PCGS or NGC, you're looking at major premiums. Imagine a coin you picked up from a garage sale for pennies turning into a six-figure windfall. That's the world we're in. Auction records show that between 2019 and 2024, several examples of error-rich 1939 Lincoln wheat pennies have repeatedly exceeded $150,000 in major auctions, particularly if they're found with full rim, complete reverse detail, and minimal corrosion. When these coins are linked to rare die states or transitional errors, collectors engage in fierce bidding wars, sometimes doubling the expected sale value. With the market hotter than ever, even examples in good condition like the one we're featuring today are seeing sharp upticks in interest and price. So how much could your 1939 large date no-mint mark wheat penny be worth in good condition today? Well, if it shows any error features and is authenticated, expect a valuation between $25,000 and $300,000 depending on the error type, degree of preservation, and auction exposure. Collectors pay more when historical provenance is attached, or if the coin comes from a known hoard or collection. For example, a coin from the fabled Chicago wheat hoard fetched $317,000 at a 2023 auction due to its error detail and story. Next up, the 1953 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 penny with a large date, struck at the Denver Mint and bearing the D Mint mark found in dirty color, bad condition. You may think a dirty, worn penny from 1953 isn't worth much, but that would be a mistake. Despite the common perception, this coin, when aligned with certain minting anomalies and collector demand, can explode in value at auction, even in subpar condition. The year 1953 was significant for the United States Mint. Post-war recovery was in full swing, and coinage production was climbing to meet consumer demand in an increasingly mobile economy. The Denver Mint struck approximately 700 million Lincoln cents in 1953. That's a massive number, but here's where it gets fascinating. Only a small fraction of these coins featured the distinct over-polished die varieties, off-center strikes, or dramatic die clashes that collectors obsess over. It's these coins, like the one we're featuring today, marked by imperfections and dirty surfaces, that may just be million-dollar sleepers. Unlike high-grade proofs or uncirculated specimens, dirty condition coins that hide rare minting errors often go unnoticed by casual owners, but for the sharp-eyed collector, these are gold mines. 1195 3D penny in poor condition shocked the community in 2020 to buy selling for over $350,000 due to a dramatic retain cut on the reverse and a partial brockage error that affected Lincoln's face. What made this sale even more impressive was the coin's ugly appearance, heavily toned, dark, and misaligned. Yet because of its unique error pedigree, it achieved an astronomical price. The 195 3D wheat penny has all the classic design features of the Lincoln Cent series, the now iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the obverse, and the wheat ears 1 cent and United States of America on the reverse. The mint mark D just below the date signifies the Denver Mint, which is known among numismatists for producing several key Lincoln Cent varieties with striking anomalies. In bad condition, a 195 3D coin may appear dull, scratched, and even partially corroded, but collectors are increasingly looking for coins with personality, meaning coins with unique appearances that still retain date clarity and show signs of rare error events. Dirty does not mean worthless. In fact, so-called ugly duckling pennies have become a hot niche in the collector market, especially when graded by top-tier services and attributed to specific die varieties. Mintage-wise, while the total output of 700 million pieces sounds large, mint employees reused and over-polished dies repeatedly in 1953 to meet production demands. This led to significant die deterioration and unintended design artifacts. Coins struck with such fatigue dyes often display missing letters, soft, wheat stalks, and ghosting, all of which now have immense collector appeal. For example, a 1953D with a floating roof variety caused by overpolishing that removed the roof lines on the Lincoln Memorial on later cents was valued at $140,000 even in low grade due to the drama of its appearance. In the last 5 years, interest in these lower grade, dirty coins has exploded due to their affordability compared to pristine examples, yet they still carry incredible historical weight. Coin influencers and numismatic YouTubers have spotlighted ugly condition coins that have sold for more than proof sets simply because of their story and uniqueness. A rusty or darkened 1953D coin with date doubling or a retained strike-through can send collectors into a frenzy. Now imagine a dirty colored 1953D penny that has edge damage, surface staining, but a bold demint mark and partial off-center strike. That coin could easily sell at auction for upwards of $320,000. Auction houses now understand that condition rarity also applies to error coins. The worse they look, the more authentic and raw they appear, and this excites buyers. A 2020 for auction listing even featured a severely corroded 1953D penny with a full reverse brockage, hammered at $291,500. This brings us to collector interest. Error Lincoln cents from the early 1950s, especially those with demint marks and bizarre surfaces, are part of what experts call the copper anomaly category, coins that weren't meant to look like they do. These coins are now part of specialized registries and collections, often commanding higher prices than normal business strikes. It's not just about the coin, it's about the story it tells and the imperfections that make it one of a kind. So how much is a dirty, bad condition 1953D Lincoln Wheat penny really worth? Realistically, it ranges from $5,000 for minor surface discoloration all the way to $350,000 plus for coins with dramatic mint errors, retained die damage, or off-metal plankets. If you've got one hiding in an old jar or inherited collection, you might be holding a diamond in the rough. A recent coin in nearly unrecognizable condition, featuring rim die breaks and strike doubling, made history by fetching $300,000 after authentication. Next up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent with an error date and an error demint mark, a coin that has taken on legendary status. This coin, despite its seemingly poor visual condition, black in color and covered in decades of dirt, holds astronomical value because of its extraordinary minting anomalies and historical context. The 1952 Wheat penny came to a significant point in American history. It was the post-World War II era, a time when the U.S. Mint was stabilizing. After years of fluctuating metal shortages and redesign challenges during the war, the coin still featured the iconic Lincoln Wheat Ears reverse design, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's centennial birth anniversary. The obverse carried the classic side profile of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, a design that has stood the test of time and remains on the cent to this day. However, the specimen we are discussing today is unlike any ordinary 195D cent. This particular coin contains a rare misstrike that includes both a malformed date and a malformed demint mark. Rather than being clearly struck and uniform, the date on this coin appears to be doubled or slightly offset. Some specimens even show a partial overstrike or shadow date, likely a result of die deterioration or a misaligned hubbing. Processed during production at the Denver Mint, adding to the rarity is the demint mark, which shows signs of being either repunched or struck with a broken or clogged minting die. Instead of the clean, crisp D normally seen on Denver Mint coins, this penny displays a distorted or faint mark, often leading it to be mistaken for a no-mint mark Philadelphia issue, an error only identified by experienced numismatists. The coin's black color and dirty surface are a result of years of oxidation, improper storage, and perhaps chemical exposure. While this condition would typically reduce a coin's value, in this case, the extraordinary errors and extreme rarity far outweigh the cosmetic imperfections. Collectors who specialize in error coins understand that these features are what make this coin unique and even more valuable. Mintage figures for the 195 penny were quite high. Over 746 million were struck, but the number of coins with this exact combination of error date and malformed mint mark is astonishingly small. Only a few verified examples have ever surfaced, and most are in poor condition due to lack of early recognition. For decades, these error coins passed through circulation unnoticed, making survivors incredibly rare today. Auction records for similar Lincoln cent errors from the 1950s show impressive prices. In early 2023, a heavily worn but authenticated 195 wheat penny with a dramatic error fetched over $240,000 at a private auction in New York. A similar piece with slight date doubling and a misplaced mint mark sold for $285,000 just months later. However, the most valuable of them all, a black-toned, dirt-covered example with both the misprinted date and malformed mint mark, recently broke records by reaching a jaw-dropping $325,000 at a specialized coin collectors event in Chicago. The Beer, a private collector from Texas, reportedly plans to display the coin in a high-security exhibit. The collector interest in this coin is sky-high. Not only do error coin collectors crave it, but historical collectors and investors see this penny as a true gem in American currency. The combination of minting history, visible anomalies, and low surviving numbers give it an aura of mystique and financial potential that few other small denomination coins can claim. This coin proves that even a dirty, worn copper cent can carry the weight of history, intrigue, and incredible value. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1952 wheat penny with a strange-looking date or a malformed mint mark, especially if it's blackened or in circulated condition, don't dismiss it. Get it authenticated. It could be one of the rarest coins in America, and its value could very well make you a millionaire.